If you've ever been in a service where the gifts of the Spirit are flowing, it can be powerful and sometimes a little messy. And that's not new. The church in Corinth was living proof that you can have gifts in full operation and still need a lot of growing up. In episode 1, I said that people who speak in tongues don't claim to be super spiritual. Corinth proves that point. Paul tells them in 1 Corinthians 1:7, you do not lack any spiritual gift. Every gift was in manifestation, tongues, prophecy, healings, but the church life was a mess. They had disorder in worship, issues with theology, open sin in the congregation, believers taking each other to court, and a level of carnality that would make most pastors pull their hair out. And yet the gifts were still operating. And that tells me something. The presence of a gift doesn't mean the person is a spiritual giant. It means God is gracious. It reminds me of King Saul in 1 Samuel 9. On his way to murder David, completely outside God's will, and the Spirit of God comes upon him. He starts prophesying, strips off his royal robes, and lies there naked, prophesying all night long. Think about that. The man is in active rebellion, half-dressed, or not dressed at all. Yet the gift is still flowing because the Spirit decided to move. Now, this is kind of a sidebar, a little freebie here. Saul's not the only example. Balaam, the man who was hired to curse Israel, ends up prophesying one of the clearest Old Testament visions of the coming of Jesus. I see him by now. I behold him, but not near. A star will come out of Jacob, a scepter will rise out of Israel. That's Numbers 24, verse 17. And yet Balaam's heart was fixed on his payday. He had the gift, but not the integrity, which is why you never judge a man by his gift. Judge him by his walk with God and his character over time. When it came to tongues, Corinth had 3 main issues. Overemphasis on the gifts. Tongues became the main event, almost like a badge of spirituality. Public use without interpretation. People were speaking in tongues in the gathering, but no one was interpreting. So the church wasn't being built up. Disorder. Everyone trying to talk at once. No flow, no clarity. And when Paul begins with this section, he says, now concerning spiritual gifts, brothers, I do not want you to be ignorant. But the word gifts is in italics, meaning it's not in the original Greek. Paul literally says, now concerning spirituals or spiritual matters, spiritual things. From there, he starts categorizing these manifestations, not to limit them, but to bring clarity and order so the church might benefit from them. In 1 Corinthians 14, verse 4 and 5, Paul says, anyone who speaks in a tongue edifies themselves, but the one who prophesies edifies the church. And that's not downgrading tongues. It's set in the right context. Private use? Absolutely. Public use? Yes, but with interpretation so that everyone is strength. 1 Corinthians 14, 27, 28. If anyone speaks in a tongue, 2 or at the most 3 should speak, 1 at a time, and someone must interpret. If there is no interpreter, the speaker should keep quiet in the church and speak to himself and to God. That's not quenching the spirits. It's making sure the Spirit's work brings clarity, not confusion. In 1 Corinthians 14, 18, Paul says, I thank God that I speak in tongues more than all of you. He had a deep personal prayer life in tongues, but in public he used it with order and purpose. That's the model. Private fire, public clarity. We can be so afraid of disorder that we forbid what Paul says not to forbid. Or we can be so eager for the gift that we forget the point is love fueled edification. Paul's heart, I want you all to speak in tongues, and I want you to do it in love, in order, and with understanding. That's the Corinthian Correction, not to shut it down, but to channel it so that the church is built and God is glorified. So next time we're heading into the 2nd century to meet Montanus and his movement, a revival to some, a scandal to others, and see what it can teach us about how gifts are embraced and tested in the church.